You're listening to Rodney Rogers Outdoors Radio, where we turn it upside down and look at the outside from the inside out. It's safe, it's legal, and we're having a blast. So put your shoes on, my friend, because we're going outdoors.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Rodney Rogers.
Spit it out, Rodney.
Surprise. Welcome to Rodney Rogers Outdoors. I am Rodney Rogers. That right there is my Parcheesi partner.
We are Parcheesi partners from day one, Rodney.
Swear I'm not drinking anything. That's my partner, Coach He's in Crime, Mike DeVan himself.
Por favor, manténgase alejados de las botas.
Does that mean keep your arms inside the vehicle while in motion?
From what I understand. The best I could reproduce it.
I see that. That's all. That sounds like the Disney monorail.
That's exactly where I learned it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like 15 years ago from the Disney monorail.
Holy moly, that's amazing.
I apologize if I got a word or two wrong in there, but that's the basic gist. You've heard it before if you've been to Disney.
Oh, yeah. Many. You see where I was like, yeah, I've heard that.
You grew up riding the monorail.
You can reach us a couple different ways tonight. You can actually hashtag us at RRO from the Twitter, the only Twitter. That will go right to Mike's face. If you have a question, statement, or you just want to, we'll read it. You can actually call us right here with the number down below, 262-345-7763.
Nice job.
It's so close to my Social Security number, Mike. I'm always afraid I'm going to let it go. It's coming.
And your life changed forever.
Well, no, their life. Whoever steals my identity, I'll know the guy because he'll be on a bridge going, I don't want to be Rodney anymore. And off he goes. You know what I mean?
He'd be like, my bad.
My bad. Sorry you didn't have enough credit.
Oh, that's funny.
To buy anything, though. Sorry to disappoint you, bad guy. That's probably the only reason I've not had my identity stolen, to tell you the truth. They probably tried a couple times.
That's funny.
You know, everybody always says, man, I got my credit card hacked for $9,000. I'm sure. I've had mine hacked for like a cup of coffee and a donut. And I think it was declined twice.
That's funny.
For the bad guy, that is. So anyway, you can reach us there. This is our 1 hour vacation. We enjoy this 1 hour every single week. We get to come here. We get to just ramble on about our fishing, hunting, what's coming up, what's new, what's in the news. We get to pop up viewer questions, and we've come to enjoy this time. We've been doing it for almost 3 years. This is episode 129.
130 tonight.
130 tonight. Man, I'm always off by one. It's always
you're in the ballpark though.
I'm either up one and I always like, okay, I got this one. Because
it's moving so fast.
It is.
Yeah, 1:30. So yeah, we definitely encourage people to call in. Again, we are live. If it's Tuesday where you're at from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're live, and we encourage your calls. You want to throw your 2 cents in,
and you can possibly win Grandpa's whole hog sausage and a gallon of milk.
That's great.
You know what's funny is I went to Georgia one time on a hunting trip, and there's this one little spot that I hit every year, and you turn it on at 2 o'clock in the morning, and it'd be, this here's Burnell's radio station. You could get a chance to win down here at the local lawn chair service. You can win Buster's lawn chair. And that was like, I could not wait to hear that.
Yeah, I'll say you're joking, but you're not, because I would tune in for that.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing you want to listen to when you're driving cross country and...
Because the
kids are sleeping in the back seat and you're just tuning it in.
Somewhere there's an old house with a guy rocking back and forth with a machete in his hand. just
why the machete? That just changed the whole thing.
That's what I picture when I hear this.
Wow, I'm sorry. Wow.
Waiting for the neighbors to come home from church.
Wow.
It's Halloween coming up, Mike. We got October sneaking up on us, so I got to think up some Halloween.
It is. It's a slight change in the air. Not that we're here to talk about the weather, but you start to feel the fall coming.
Oh, God, I hope so. It needs to come fast.
What's that mean for the hunter and gatherer?
It means everything. This is the time of year, as that fall comes in, if you're a hunter or a fisherman, man, you're like, this is it. I mean, this is your Christmas. It really is. I could never wait for the fall. I mean, it was just one of those things where when you started to feel that cool air, you knew it was hunt season. Yep. You knew duck season's around the corner. You're getting ready to put your climber up in your tree stand. I mean, there's a lot of things. Not only do the animals sense the change, so do humans. I mean, we feel it. So, what's funny is, and I don't mean to go off on a tangent here, but when we think of animals, we think, well, that's pretty amazing that these animals can feel, what's coming. They know when to spawn, when to mate. It's just all this and all by weather change. Well, if you don't have all these gadgets, you have to pay attention.
Oh, I think you hit it on the head.
To your surroundings, and that's us. When we feel the fall coming, well, there's a lot more going on than just that cool, crisp air. There's barometric pressure. There's tidal changes. There's the moon phase. There's all that stuff that affect.
I mean, I think we have to feel it as much as the animals do. But I think you hit it on the head that we're so distracted. Our brains overpower the natural tendency of our body to know what's happening.
We have tuned out.
We think too hard sometimes.
That's exactly right. And we've tuned out our instincts.
Yeah.
I mean, when you feel, man, that fall's coming, or you get that smell of the spring air, you got the orange blossoms, and anybody can remember a smell that they can relate to, an autumn or a fall smell, or you got the leaves falling or mowed grass.
It's interesting because of those seasonal changes. I mean, and I'm sure it's your life or chapters of your life compiled into that season that make up what that feels like later in your life.
That's absolutely right.
I still feel it's back to school time.
Oh yeah.
After all these years, I know it's for the kids, but you still get that sense when we're triggered when the leaves start to change and the temperatures start to drop, that it's back to school time.
And I'll tell you this, it's a lot different for a hunter, and the reason is when that change comes and those smells start to to feel in, we associate a season with that.
Sure.
Because like you said, you went to school for how many years, and you still associate yourself going to to that back to school thing. Well, hunters are the same way. I mean, they associate themselves with seasons. When you get that early spring smell, they know spring turkey season's coming. They know it's right around the corner. And then they know fishing's going to start biting again. The cool weather.
It's like the farmer's almanac thing.
In your head.
Yeah, because that's what this conversation reminds me of. The farmers who just knew, when the sun sets, red sunset at night, in the morning, and the fog, how it's lifted. All these things you can tell if you just pay attention. They do mean something, but we'd rather go on weather.com and figure it all out.
Yeah, and have someone figure it out for us.
Yeah.
We forget that we have that natural ability to figure these things out. So,
you ever read the Farmer's Almanac?
I have. I used to all the time, and there's a reason. Now, back in the 80s when we didn't have all these technologies, you almost kind of had to read those Farmer's Almanac, because a couple things is it kind of told you when the moon phases were going to be. Mm-hmm. Now, moon phases affect animals as much as they do fish. Our buddy HP, the other day, he was asking me, he goes, how do you feel about the moon phases when fishing? I said, well, it certainly affects it. I said, but somewhere out there's someone catching a 10-pound bass right now as we speak. So it doesn't affect it to a degree where you're not going to catch fish. Remember, and I've said this a million times, we're fishing so many bodies of water. Each body of water has something different. pH balance, it has water clarity, it has algae bloom different, it has temperature difference, it has something. If you fish different lakes and different ponds, the whole Lake Toho will be affected pretty much the same.
Sure. Yeah.
Yep. Now put that on a smaller scale, and then hit 30 ponds, and you're going to find one that bites.
Yeah.
You're going to find one that works. So.
Yeah. And on the same topic, when are they going to put fishing in the Olympics?
Soon, I hope. They got
Like
sailing.
that segue?
Yeah, I like that.
But why wouldn't they? Why is fishing not in the Olympics?
You know what? Our buddies...
I suppose there's some challenges there.
Yeah. I'm thinking.
It's hard to...
Our buddies from Salt Strong posted a post the other day, and I don't know if you read it. Is fishing a sport? Did you read that article?
I did, actually, yes.
Yes. So...
Some interesting points in there.
Absolutely.
And you wanted to chime right in.
Exactly. So that would be a great discussion, actually. Just one night, just is fishing a sport, and actually, it'd be great to sit in with those guys and us just sit in a room and just hash out, the whole fishing.
Well, it's an interesting conversation because a sport. I think we relate sports to athletics, and it's not necessarily.
Right.
You know, I mean, I think growing up with wide world of sports.
You know, picture it as a baseball,
yeah.
football.
But there was even other things on there. I think there was fishing on there, maybe. I don't remember.
Well, yeah.
But I mean,
there's
I
definitely
don't
fishing.
consider. I don't. And here's the debate. I don't consider NASCAR drivers athletes.
No.
I think being in good shape. I think having good
imperative?
health.
Okay. Yeah.
Definitely helps your endurance and sitting in a hot car and everything like that, as it does to the. Am I opening a can of what?
And you can email us at mike@rodneyrogersoutdoors.com.
I'm not.
No,
I'm saying if you take a stock car driver, and yes, if you have one that works out consistently and is healthy,
right.
he's gonna come through that day in better shape.
No, I agree.
You're not going to drive the car any faster.
No, I got what you're saying.
You're going to survive the day better.
Yeah.
That's also true for me sitting a 9 to 5 at my desk job.
Yeah,
if I work out and I'm healthy, I'm going to survive sitting
stamina.
at a computer for 8 hours a day as well.
No, exactly right.
If I'm a fat pig who drinks beer and chips all day, that's going to be a much rougher 8 hours working my Excel spreadsheet.
Now you've disrespected all the fat pig NASCAR watchers out there.
But it's true.
Agree.
It's true with everything. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's true. I mean, chess is a sport.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
I think somewhere whenever competition comes into it, that's where the sport element comes in. I think
right.
that
word,
no,
you're exactly right.
I think the word competition brings it into the arena of a sport.
The sport highlight. Yeah.
I mean, we see ping pong.
Well,
and
that was
the
first thing I thought of.
I mean, what's the one that gets made fun of every 4 years, the winter one, where they scoot the thing and then they brush it.
Right. What is that? Oh no, that's called they brush.
Yeah.
What, I don't know.
So athlete.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
I agree.
And there's no athleticism.
I agree.
There's a skill.
Right.
And there's definitely competition.
Yeah, and I think,
and the same thing with NASCAR. There's a skill and it's competition. I think those are two things
that's the key
bring
word.
it in the arena of a sport.
No, that's the key word.
But athleticism, that's a whole different thing. And I think that's where the argument misses each other.
Because you're going to see a football guy pick out football as the most athletic, and then the
Sure.
soccer guy.
Yeah.
You know, come on, yeah.
Yeah, but
the
doesn't mean
competition
your
is
most athletic person's going to be your best race car driver. He may not even be able to do a 50-yard sprint.
Or slap a ping pong ball.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. He can slap me upside the head, too. I mean, probably fair enough.
While I'm slapping, where'd that mic go at?
But anyways, wow, where'd we go?
Somehow we got off on that. So, Mike, I got to see a fan this weekend. Now, when I say a fan, it is so I'm always so...
I'm a little bothered by that word. Not personally, and don't take it too strong. But
I'm trying to find that
word. I might be a
word.
little agitated.
It's not that word. It's someone who listens to our show, a follower, a friend of ours, because dude was awesome. His name was Brent Jackson, and he follows us on Facebook and on our website. He's got our podcast downloaded on his phone.
Did I hurt your feelings?
No. Why?
Okay.
Why?
Is fan derogatory to somebody?
I think it is, honestly. I just don't know what else. I met a great guy this weekend, or how else to say it.
I mean, listener.
Because I hate the word fan.
Yeah, I mean, listener, viewer, friend.
That's all.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I apologize. I wish I hadn't even said anything, but.
Yeah, but you did. No, you did.
Toothpaste is out.
on your shirt, so it's all dribbled.
You continue. I'll clean it up.
So he came in. He visited Naples. He's got some friend in Naples. So he says, "Hey, I'm going to be up in the Kissimmee area. Are you in that area?" And I've already decided, if anybody that follows us on Facebook, from especially from out of town,
followers, that's a good one.
Followers, yeah.
You might have your hands full with me tonight, Rodney.
I'm thinking. I don't know why. You're in that. You got what you got? Sumatra coffee over there.
Sumatra, yeah.
So I said, man. So I went and picked him up at the Golden Corral. He was in there stuffing his face. I said, hey, you quit eating. Let's go. We're going fishing. Water temperature was extremely hot. It was hard to find fish, and we finally found fish.
What time of the day?
This was starting to get around the 5, 6 o'clock range.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so it's right at that late day.
But that's a good time, is it not?
It's getting into the good time.
Okay.
It really is. It's getting into the good time. I had a frog on his pole, and I said, look, man, just cast it out there and just count to 5. Fish real slow, and, man, we started getting hits right away, and pow. If you look on our Facebook at Rodney Rogers Outdoors, you'll see Brent and I holding our fish up. We'd caught a couple fish each, and we just, man, what a time. What a great guy.
What was your total? What'd you catch?
Fish-wise?
Yeah.
We caught...
Well, what's the options?
Weight, big fish.
Okay.
He caught a 2.5, 3-pounder. And, and then I caught a 2.5, 3-pounder. And I think that was the key. I wanted to get him a good, decent Florida fish. Not no dinks. Not no 6-inch fish. And, man, he got a shot at it. So I was really happy with that. Just like we did with Ryan. When Ryan came down, you come to Florida. That was his first Florida bass. You come to Florida, you want that Florida bass. So I'm like, man, we got to get you a fish. And, I mean, I went and found him a fish. So
wow.
I told him, I said, how you like my bass boat? We get to riding around the truck like a bass boat, hit lake spot to spot,
Yeah.
So
a bass boat got 4 wheels.
a bass boat got 4-wheel drive.
It's quite effective, too.
It is very effective.
How do you bass me now, right? That's what you said.
Exactly.
Hey, you said something. I overheard you say something earlier that shocked me a little bit, and it was very disturbing. You said that a peacock bass is not a bass.
No, it is not in the Carpellus family. It's actually a cichlid.
Cichlid.
It's a cichlid. Yeah, it's not a bass at all.
Really?
But they're aggressive like a bass. They kind of look like a
They
bass.
do kind of look like a bass.
So we call them peacock bass.
So it's strictly a visual thing.
It's
reaction or what you fish them with, how you catch them.
Yeah, the more aggressive. Yeah, exactly. It is very similar. I mean, the more aggressive you are with a peacock, the better off they're. They're happier aggressive.
Interesting.
So, yeah, it's actually a cichlid. So, but we call it in the bass family. So if I'm going to catch all the bass, I'm going to go through. Like I said, my goal is to hit the peacock bass, the largemouth bass, the Swanee bass, the red eye, the Coosa bass, the whole spiel, all the way up to a smallmouth. And hopefully when we go to our squirrel cook-off couple weeks, we might catch a smallmouth. If old Joe Wilson got anything to do with it. If he's got time, he said
Sure.
maybe we'll go hit a spot. So I may be buying a fishing pole up there if he don't have one. If I find water, I'm fishing, Mike. I'm going to tell you right now.
No doubt about that.
So we will drive around if we have to early Sunday morning.
One of those little baby fishing poles to put
Yeah.
Just
put in our pocket. So
well, what do you want to do? We got some mail we could talk about.
let's talk about some mail.
Letters, we get letters, we get stuff. Whoa, yes, wait a minute, Mr. Postman.
Send me an email with all the details.
Another freaking email song.
Mail time.
The mail's here.
On top flight, hold you tight, get you there by daylight, do you right overnight mail.
Close. I was close.
The one and only Rodney Rogers, ladies and gentlemen.
Mike, I still haven't posted our video, by the way, that last week's show, Mike and I, if you've seen last week's show, before we get into the questions, Mike and I started hemming on the dibs on the giblets.
Which led to an interesting conversation. Is it giblets or giblets?
Both.
Yeah.
It depends on the part of the South that you're in.
That's true. I'm from an Indian Nana.
And
I think it was giblets up there.
I mean,
I think the Hoosiers call it giblets.
so maybe we can play that audio. Will that thing play the audio?
I don't know.
If I
Maybe.
plug it in? Oh, no, I don't have the app, do I?
You don't have anything tonight, Rodney. Look around you.
You're right. I don't have it. Okay, Mike, questions.
Question number 1, Rodney. Hey, Rodney, really enjoyed the show. I listened to your podcast during my commute here in Atlanta. I want to get another rod and reel for just using for buzzbaits. I have a Johnny Morris I have a Johnny Morris that I will use when using worms, etc. I would like to purchase a 7.1 along with the right rod for throwing buzz baits. Here's the question. What rod would you suggest along with line preferences for buzz baits?
Okay. More importantly, what should have been in that question, what reel?
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Because here's the reason. A 7-foot rod, anything 7 foot or above is a great rod. Medium heavy, because you want to be able to set the hook really good. Line, that's going to depend on your reel. But the key is, because a buzzbait has to pop out of the water and stay on top, you want a high gear ratio reel. You want a 7 to 1 ratio plus.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because when you reel, you want as many, for every crank, you want that thing to move as far as possible. If you get a 4 or 5 to 1, then you got to really crank that reel to keep it on top.
Interesting.
And you will wear out quick.
Okay.
10 cast, having to reel real fast, and your arms get tired. So you want a high-speed reel. So take your highest-speed reel and find you a good rod. And, if the fastest reel you got is 5 to 1 or, for my opinion, even 6 to 1, I would go shopping for a reel before I would a pole.
Okay.
So, if you're going to specifically run buzz baits for that reason, otherwise anything will work. You'll just have to work a little harder to get that buzz bait to the surface. Because when a buzz bait hits, it starts to sink, and and it usually takes 10, 15, 20 feet to pop to the surface. Well, that 20 feet is that first 20 feet is the most vital when it comes to buzz baits. So I have learned a technique over the year that allows that buzz bait to stay on top of the water as soon as it hits, and then it starts buzzing right across the water. And how I do it, I have a high-speed reel. When I cast, while my lure is in flight, I switch my hands to my casting, my reeling hand, because it's left-right. And then just as it goes to hit the water, I start reeling, because I take the slack out of the line as it starts to fall.
Okay.
And then once the slack's gone, it hits the top of the water. I hit the water like Scooby-Doo, man. It's all go. He hits the ground running. So there's some techniques there you can learn, because once that hits, a lot of times a bass will hit right on that splash. And then if you start that thing splashing off, then, that's a lot. That's how you work the buzzbait properly. So more importantly, forego the rod and focus on your reel if you're specifically going to run that buzzbait for any length of time.
Do all lures require some sort of technique like that? I mean, there is a technique for each lure.
It's funny, Mike, because the other day I was thinking fishing with, Hector a lot has taught me a lot. I've done this for years, and I forgot why I do the things I do. It's become second nature. And a lot of times, HP and I will start talking, he'll start asking questions, and it reminds me of why I do the things I do, and I'm not necessarily set in my ways, and that's the key. The key to fishing is not getting set in your ways. His strong points are clear water. That's my weak points. I love fishing clear water. I mean,
sure.
It's not my preference. My preference is murky water, where that's his. He will avoid murky water. So, the key to being a great fisherman is learning the attributes of the whole thing across. And what lure you work in clear water will work differently the same lure in murky water. So it's important to pick up those techniques and learn as much as you can on all those conditions. Does that sound right?
It sounds like you need to be intentional. Sometime when you go out and be intentional with a particular lure, spend time with it, learn it, try the different techniques. Do you ever do that? Do you ever?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, think out, because it's after so many years, it's got to be just routine, and, you kind of even forgot what you've learned.
That's what I try to avoid. And that's why most of the time, these young kids, when I say young kids, anybody 30 or less, because I'm almost 50.
Yeah.
So,
wow, are you really?
I am.
I'm sorry, dude.
I'm almost in the club, Mike. So what I see is they got this backpack on their back, and they've got all their gear in there, and they've got, they've just got this massive amounts of gear. And I noticed that while they have it, they're only fishing with one lure. So they're the backpack is the new tackle box that builds their confidence. And I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of putting a 3 tackle boxes in the bottom of the boat and fishing with one lure. So now I've gotten to the point where I'll fish with one lure and I'll make that lure work one way or the other. And I'll change my methods until it works.
Kind of force yourself to
work the one lure, and then you learn so much more when you focus on one lure. It's easy to throw 6 lures at the same speed and do the same thing and go, they're not biting. Throw one lure and do different retrieves, different speeds, different top.
Yeah, I also think it'd be easier and more tempting to just go on to the next one if you know you've got 10 in your bag.
Switch it out.
This one's not working.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let me tie it. Switch it. Switch it out. Now, in the case that we had the other day, the water was so hot we could see the bass. They just weren't committing to the lure. Absolutely, the heat. I've seen it 10,000 times, but you always want to give an honest shot to every bait that you can before you pull away and go. Because you could get to the point where it's just one magic lure, and they just happen to love that thing, and this wasn't the case. They just didn't want nothing. They were just mad and hot, like everybody else in the world.
Let's take another one.
Let's do it.
BuzzBaits. This one says, is it okay to put a 50-pound line on a 25-pound reel? And what's the consequence?
50-pound line on a 25-pound reel. Okay. On a reel that's maximum rated for a 25-pound line.
Yeah, because it probably doesn't weigh 25.
Yes.
That'd be a huge.
Yeah, that'd be ridiculous. They got them. I wouldn't want to fish
so a reel is rated for a certain.
Yeah, a reel will give you the line that it's most optimum. That's what they recommend, and this is what casts the best. So basically, I think what he's trying to say is, and there's an old adage, I know what you want. You want a kite that'll fly in 50-mile-an-hour winds for $5. And there's really no such thing. So you want this all-around fishing line that's just going to work on every pole, and that's not the case. What braided line has done to the industry is ingenious. They've made a stronger line with a lesser overall thickness. So your consequence for putting a 50-pound line on a 25-pound pole, on a 25-pound reel, is detrimental. It won't cast nowhere near as far. Your lures won't work as well. I mean, there's just so many things that goes wrong with that. And right away when it doesn't work. And there again, I've done it. So I know the feelings. Just to give you an example, your wife had me look at a leak at the window. What seems, very, well, we got a leak. We got water coming in, water penetration. As soon as I looked at it, I knew exactly what it was. I knew what the cause was, and I knew the fix. Only because I've seen it 10,000 times.
That's a good point.
And researched that problem and found out what's causing it, why is it causing, and then found it and solved it. Well, that's no different than fishing. You can apply that same thing to fishing. I've done the 50-pound line on 25, trying to get, because way back when, you couldn't get a braided line that was thinner, but you still broke off. So you was like, I want a 20, because 25-pound line back in the day was, absolutely what everybody, but you couldn't cast as far. Your lures wouldn't dive as deep. You couldn't get you had to use a heavier weight to get your worm to drop. There's just so many consequences to it. So whatever your reel is designed for in line thickness. Now, when it says 10-pound test line, that's why braided line says it's a 10-pound test line, 30-pound strength.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So we're looking for the thickness. So it'll give it to you in 0.025 gajillimeters or whatever they're called. But what you want is just 10-pound thickness, 30-pound strength, or 12-pound thickness, 50-pound strength. And that's what you're looking for. So the thinner line. Now here's the trick. The thinner line, the smoother and farther your lure is going to cast. Too thin, and it'll just be a mess. So you can go equally as dangerous the wrong way. So if it says 8-pound to 12-pound, stay in that window.
Okay.
That's
the median. That's the middle of the road.
This is the minimum.
Okay.
This is the maximum, and you want to be dead center.
Okay.
That's when your reel is going to work absolutely brilliant. What I ought to do is just take time and do a podcast on heavy, thick line, short rods, long rods, and make all those
right tool for the right job.
Right tool for the right job.
Yeah.
Yep. You don't need a hammer when you got to have a pair of pliers.
Okay.
We'll pull the analogies out of the bag tonight.
Hammer's funner though sometimes.
Hammer is way funner.
All right, last question for this evening. I see a lot of needle-nosed gar around Florida, but have never caught one. What kind of bait would you catch a gar on, and are they good eating?
They are good eating.
It's
actually.
Jason from Homestead,
Old
Florida.
Jason. They are good eating, actually. We had a fish fry not too long ago where we had gar as
No,
well.
you did, really?
Yeah, we did. There's back straps on a gar. They're a little tough to clean, but they're big, round nuggets. Just big, long nuggets, depending on the size of gar, and they can be pretty big. 3 types of gar in the state of Florida. That's alligator gar, the Florida gar, and the long-nosed gar.
Okay.
The alligator gar is protected, so you need to know the difference. You get caught in one of those, man, it's
Wow.
big
That
trouble.
would be a tough one to...
Yeah, that'd be a hard one to
Are they
hammer out.
distinguishable?
They are very distinguishable. An alligator gar looks just as that. Their nose is short and stout like an alligator,
Okay.
and they get up to 6 feet long. Very distinguishable. The short spotted ones that have what looks like an alligator gar nose,
Yeah.
but that's a Florida gar. It's spotty, where the alligator gar is not spotty.
Which
So,
is one more prominent than the other? I mean, do you
is-
see seeing
yeah,
more
you
of them?
see the Florida gar way more than
Okay.
you do any of them. Long-nosed gar it gets up to 3 feet long, and it just has a super long,
Okay.
skinny nose.
Okay.
What he's probably calling the needle-nosed gar.
Okay, yeah.
It's just long, and they're all great eating.
Okay.
They're fantastic eating. So, yeah, bait, sometimes they'll bite rubber worms, frogs, those kind of things. They're not very aggressive. They don't chase. You'll be in a pond and you'll see this ripple. You'll just see them stick up, you'll see a fin poking out. Or
Yeah.
They stay on the surface. They're one of the few fish on a planet that has lungs, so they can breathe air and water. They suck in bubbles of air and they go down. They let the bubbles out, so they can live in real stagnant water. Yeah,
That's bizarre.
Been around for a million reasons.
Wow.
A million reasons.
Right.
For a million reasons, here's number
Because
one.
they're full of excuses.
A million years for a reason is what I was trying to say. So, the key is establishing what you're catching. Now, a dead shiner. So when you're fishing for gar, here's a great way to specifically chase gar. You're fishing with shiners, dead shiners, just dead minnows, dead whatever. Shiners preferable because they float. Bare hook. When you see that rip on the water, tassel to tassel.
Tassel to tassel over the team.
Toss the bait past them and slowly reel it in and just let it sit. And what'll happen is they'll grab that bait from the side. Don't set the hook. They're going to swim with it for a minute. They'll just put it in the side and they'll swim with it, and then they'll slowly chow down, and then poof, you can catch your gar or gig it or snag it.
Really?
Yeah. They're just. When you're targeting for fishing purposes, there's a lot better. Do it at night with a flashlight, and you can snag and gig those things all day long.
There can't be much meat on them, though.
There's not a lot of meat on them. Not a lot of meat, and that's why most people don't fool with them. Their skin is very hard, and they're hard to clean. You got to take those metal shears, go right up their back, and start peeling them open like we do the gator. And all you do is take that back strap. Because remember, the eggs of a gar are poisonous to the human body.
Wow.
So do not eat
You're
eggs.
just now bringing that up?
Yeah, you might want to leave that caviar off
Wow.
off your
Really? No
list.
kidding.
Yeah.
All three kinds in Florida?
all 3 kinds. They ain't good for you.
I wonder why that is.
Two things in Florida you don't eat: pufferfish and gar eggs.
Really?
Well, pufferfish
I
you
never
can
knew
eat,
that. Yeah.
but
Just gotta
don't
be
eat the
careful,
green
yeah.
sack. Yeah, if you pop
Wow.
that, guess what? Everybody in the family's gonna fall down on the floor, not gonna move for a while. Just gonna flop there. Just gonna be there.
Not a good way to end a party.
Hey, everybody, we caught these weird little fish out there. 1 minute they're real big, and next minute they're real small. Try this. And everybody looking at each other because it causes total body paralysis. Your whole body just shuts down. So in order to live through that, they got to put you on a life machine and sustain you until that stuff wears off.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they can do it, but it ain't
It
easy.
is not a fun Friday night, though.
That makes for one heck of a story, Mike.
Well, speaking of stories, Rodney, we kind of perused over the
Top stories. What do you got
top
for top stories?
I must say not a lot,
Okay.
but let's do it anyways.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Here's one called "Shut Your Trap." What? No, wait. Is that it?
No, that was the email that I got.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Shut your crab traps, or
Oh,
open your
okay.
trap, whatever the. What's that from? What's the origin of that? Shut your trap.
Shut your trap.
I mean, I know it means shut your mouth, but what?
That would.
I wonder if there's a story behind
an
that.
old trapper.
I love those origin
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah,
Sometimes they're fun. Sometimes they're really boring. Like somebody in Germany in 1902 came up with some
Shooting, you trapping.
recreational and commercial blue trap. Crap.
See?
You are contagious. Recreational and commercial. Thanks for coming.
I swear to God, we've not been coffee. Sumatra.
It is that Sumatra, yeah.
That Sumatra.
Recreational. Let me slow
Not
down.
the ganja, the Sumatra.
Recreational and commercial blue crab traps. I've had troubles with those words together before. May be placed back in state waters. And that's the end of that story. From Brevard through Palm Beach County, starting today. Actually, this was last week. August 16th. I'm tired of hearing about blue crab traps.
But speaking of crabs, we have a season coming up that not many people take advantage of, and I'm going to recommend it real quick while you're looking for your next stop. So we have a stone crab season coming back in on October. Should be around October the 15th is usually when it comes back in. And I'll tell you, if you like, crab, this is a sustainable harvestable crab where you snap the claws off. Now, we used to only be able to snap one claw off.
I think a lot of people don't know what you're saying right now.
Yeah.
I mean, they're understanding your words.
Right, but they don't know.
This is new information. I never knew this until you point this out.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
And you can actually harvest both claws.
This is bizarre.
In their survey, they realized that the claws don't feed them. They can't eat with these claws. They eat with the smaller claws on the bottom.
Is it just protection?
It's just strictly for protection is what those claws are for. So you can harvest both claws. So it'll come around, and we'll go in a lot more in depth. But I'm excited about the season coming up because
how long to grow one back?
they can molt the first claw within the first season.
That's crazy.
Literally every time they molt, the claw comes out. So
It's bizarre.
yeah, and it pops out pretty quick.
Nature's an amazing.
It is so amazing
thing.
And whoever said, "Hey, let's eat this claw." And what got me is I watched the FWC nail some guys the other day with like 50 of these stone crabs. You cannot keep them whole. It's illegal. You can only keep the claws. These guys had them whole. Now, and you know what's funny is not only you would think that they would nail you for having an illegal crab and that's it. No, they'll nail you for having illegal crab, a crab with egg bearing, that's egg bearing, which they were.
Yep.
And two small claws. The claws were too small.
It's cumulative. You get it all.
Yep, all in one crab.
Yeah, wow.
3 chargers on one crab times 50. Guess what they do? Guess what? You get a nice set of bracelets with those.
Wow.
Chrome.
Well, then it might be worth it then.
I'm sorry,
I did pick up one new thing. I'm back to the crab story that I quickly discounted. There are a piece of information that, because we've been talking about crab trap closures, opening and closings for the last 2 or 3 weeks. There are 3 regional 10-day long blue crab trap closures that occur in 2016 on the Atlantic coast. There are 6 regional closures total. 3 in odd-numbered years on the west coast, and 3 in even-numbered years on the east coast.
Right.
So in the even-numbered years, we're getting it.
Right.
So it's 2016. So next year we won't. That'll be on the west coast.
Right.
So I thought that was very, very interesting point.
Somehow I remember last week when I said I'm not sure how it works, but there's an even and odd year.
3 regional, 3 on this coast, 3 on the other, and we flip-flop years.
When I used to trap blue crabs, you're about to make me.
I feel a song coming on.
I wish we could play that audio. I used to trap them, and I was up to speed on that. And it's been a long time since when I say trap, actually we netted them. So I've been out of the blue crab trap loop for a while, because last year I got a question: is Rodney? I just want to go catch some crabs. I don't know where to start or what to do. Now it wasn't on. it came in on our website, so I gave him a location, how to look for them, what tools to have, minimal tools. And then the guy went out and just nailed the blue crabs and had an absolute blast.
I've never see that's something that's still on my bucket list.
So we need to
I mean,
do
I've been
that.
down here 20
Well,
some
you'll be
years,
happy
and
to
that's still on
know
my bucket list.
I've got this John boat that I've been working on, putting money into.
Yep.
And I thought, you know what? I still got to find a trailer. I still got to do this. We got gator season coming. So when we get back from Arkansas,
Yep.
I'm going straight to Academy Sports and buying the same boat, brand spanking new, with a brand spanking new trailer. And we're just gonna. I'm not gonna fool with this.
Because you could totally do stuff like I mean, that's
Yeah,
you can get in and
that's
out of that
the
thing, right?
perfect
Yeah.
boat, especially for stone crab and blue crab in the because you do that in the Indian River Lagoon and the Merritt Island area, and in the backwaters is where you're doing it at. And so that's the key. So we'll use that boat for that.
All right, Rodney. They're making progress on the bear-human conflict.
Okay, so I had seen something on this, and now we're talking about garbage
I'm
cans.
not
obviously.
talking about bear humans either. So just to clarify,
Bear human contact. Is that the old man in the park?
you ready for this?
Lay it on me.
Do you remember that song, "Running Bear"?
Love a little white dove.
I remember we were.
Yeah.
I was young. The true story.
Yeah.
When I was younger,
Younger.
I must have been 18, 17, 18. I remember telling my parents I was going to go see the man that sang "Running Bear," and all kinds of confusion. That's like, Dad, I don't know if that's the kind of concert you should be going to. My dad says. So, anyways, true
there
story.
you have it.
The Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission. Brace yourself for this, Rodney.
I'm hanging on to a water bottle.
And Waste Pro USA, right? Garbage collecting company, right?
Brilliant. I know where you're going with
Are
this.
teaming up to help reduce human-bear conflicts in Northwest Florida. Today, this was last week, representatives from the two agencies met in Tallahassee to sign a memorandum of understanding which will solidify this partnership. The agreement establishes a partnership between the Waste Service Company and the FWC to make it easier for residents to secure the trash from bears. With the signing of this agreement, Waste Pro is stepping up and acknowledging the important role of providing the necessary equipment to help conserve bears and keep their customers safe. Are you ready for the solution?
I'm ready.
Put a lid on it.
No, really, I'm ready. I'll say it quietly. I'm ready.
Let me go back.
I'm ready.
Put a lid on it.
Okay, I'll say it lower. I'm ready. Oh.
I'm a little confused. Black bears are attracted to unsecured trash found in Florida residences and businesses.
Okay.
So
We're going to put a lid on it.
We are excited to continue providing solutions.
Yes.
That was just one.
Putting a lid on it. They have a $1.2 million budget for this. Did you see that?
Well, that was probably 800,000 right there.
Right. What, just the idea?
I'm actually being a little sarcastic.
Just a wee bit.
But this whole article says nothing. I literally said, "Wait, okay, I missed it."
So you reread it.
I reread it.
And it still says nothing.
What it says is they've said, let's team up and say together we've got a problem. And that we're going to have solutions.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
We don't have a solution yet, is what you're saying?
Well, I think
Well,
they're going to. I think I was waiting for a picture or something that they designed some. I mean, at the very, and I'm sure that's probably where it's going. Bear-proof garbage cans that easier to. But we really.
Yeah.
I mean, is this?
Got to start somewhere.
I think.
So if you
I'm a huge FWC fan, but I don't know.
You need more meat
I
and potatoes.
expected. I don't even know it was worth writing an article going. Guess what? We're teaming up with the Waste Service Company, and
Well, of course, the Waste Service Company wants to get in on this because they just opened up a $1.2 million budget to solve the bear human contact problem. That's what I was reading. So, as soon as I saw that, I went, "Wait a minute! It's just going to pull in some stuff." What? I mean,
because that is the crux of this whole problem is our proximity to the bears. I mean,
Right.
we're living in their lands. We're a hop, skip, and a jump for them to jump jump over the fence and be in your garbage can where there's food.
right.
So the less, if you want to get rid of a snake, a bear, and get rid of their food source, that's why they're there.
That's why they're there.
You know.
Yeah, that's the key.
So take away that opportunity for them.
So that's
More secure lids.
and it's only in certain areas.
Certain areas.
You and I don't have a bear problem.
Well, no, we don't.
We-
I mean, I know it's widening, and you hear these occasional things. Oh, there's a
But-
bear in a tree up, 3 blocks up or something.
Yeah.
But that's not the norm.
Right. Yeah, it's straight.
You're talking Ocala,
way
and,
away.
I mean,
yeah,
Apopka.
Altamont,
Yeah, there's some,
Wakaiba,
yeah, sure.
Area. I mean, there's places like Marion Creek area, the Marion Creek Management Preserve used to have bears, and there were signs for bears when I was a kid hunting. You'd see bear signs. I mean, they would split down a cabbage palm and then eat the center of
Sure.
the palm out. So the signs were there, but the bears have been long gone since the early 70s. Even before I grabbed a rifle. So there's not bears there now.
Okay.
They were there. It is a sustainable place, but they're just not there now, and they can't move bears there because there's just not enough land there to sustain a bear population unless they just happen to show up. So
Yeah.
excuse me. Woo. And as much as we'd like to say, hey, let's move the bear, we're moved out.
Yeah.
We really can't move these things to where they wouldn't be a problem for someone else. We got a couple solutions. Quit building in their habitat is the number one solution, but no one wants to hear that one.
I mean, it's not an option.
Exactly. It is not an option because it's privately owned.
Well, and this is why you have state parks. That's the option for preservation.
Right. And your only option is to buy all of Florida, kick everybody out, and make it, a habitat. We got 5 million acres of management area,
But
most of any state.
Sure. The fact of the matter is that's why these government agencies like the FWC are important.
Right.
To maintain these areas that are designated.
Right.
As state parks and preservation areas, and
and it's not like they're not working on the problem because I talked to the bear guy at the show, and this is his job.
Yeah.
They're paying this guy X amount of $1,000 a year and 20 people like him.
Yeah.
To figure out their habitat. And if you think it's so easy, go study a bear. You know what I mean?
Take it easy. Take it easy. Wow.
Go find your own bear, dadgummit. Go, and hell, study a dragonfly and see what cost and, this is a major cost. So it's not like, everybody has what I call the armchair quarterback, the old, everybody knows how to quarterback the game unless they're in the game. These guys got a lot of pressure on them.
I agree with you 100% with what you just said.
And the only reason, because you and I know Tony Young, and he's introduced me to some amazing people who do those biological studies. And when I hear their stories, I go, holy moly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you absolutely 100% on this. I'm just so desperate for a story off the. It's been slow news lately. And so bears, the bear thing's back.
Right.
And you left me hanging with the bear.
Yeah, we're up in the air.
So the moral of the story is put a lid on it. I wonder where that phrase came from. Put a lid on it.
We had to Google that one day and just say, hey, here's where put a lid on it came from. Or even the trap closure. What'd you say?
Blue crap.
Close your trap.
Shut
your trap.
Shut your trap.
Yeah, that's something to do. Speaking, you know what? Obviously, we're going up to Arkansas for the squirrel hunt.
We're going to Arkansas. Plane tickets are bought. Hotel room.
Hotels booked. Now we just got to figure out how to get around.
Yeah.
We might have to buy bicycles when we get to Walmart up there.
Sweet talk the guy girl at the front desk or whatever.
Hello there. Can I buy a bicycle? But anyway, hunting season's coming up. There's a ton of hunting opportunities out there that you really ought to look into. If you're a hunter, if you're a new hunter, and you're like, man, I just want to get into hunting this year. This year's my year. Hit us up. Oh, we got a hashtag RROR.
Where do you start?
What you got? You got it?
Yeah. Continue your thought there, buddy.
So hook us up, and I will send you some of the easiest way to get into hunting that you will absolutely love. So shoot me something. Say, hey, Rodney, I'm interested in hunting this year. We had a guy that wanted to go hunting with me. I never met the guy. I won't hunt with someone brand new. I will invite people that I know.
Sure.
Over time, just
because of the dangers involved.
Yeah. You don't. It's just a lot of and sooner or later we'd have to have insurance or something if we take people on. So, but I will tell you a great way to start a great animal to hunt. I mean, we have bird seasons coming up. We got dove, quail, all those seasons coming up. There's just a plethora of easy hunting, inexpensive hunting. I mean, you can buy a shotgun for $79.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? It's a single shot. It's what I bought my kids. It's what I started hunting with. And I still have a brand new, Harrington Richards single shot that I love to duck hunt with. I mean, you can only shoot 6 ducks. I don't need 300 shots. I put one shell in, duck comes in, I shoot. To me, it's some of the best hunting out there. So, it's a great way to get out there and start that hunting tradition. For me, it's
That's
exactly
great.
what it is.
Now, did you grow up where your dad would give you one bullet? Who was it?
It was me. That's exactly how we did it.
Isn't that great?
Had a single shot 22, and I was so excited to hunt. And my uncle would pick us up at school, and he'd hand me a bullet, my cousin a bullet, and he'd have a couple shotgun shells, and we'd go hunting rabbits. And we'd all come home with a rabbit with 3 bullets. I mean, that's hunting.
You got to make that shot count.
You got to make that shot count.
I think Peter Updike, when he was here, alluded to that same upbringing.
That same upbringing, and that's how it was done. And that's how I brought my kids up. I bought them a single shot shotgun. I mean, I know guys that bought their kids, semi-automatics right out of the shot.
Yeah.
$2,000 shotguns. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's going in the wrong. To me, that's going in the wrong ethical direction.
Sure.
To them, it's probably all right because they want them to have that sporting chance. Hunting is all about disappointment. It's about that climax of, man, I'm here. It's the miss. It's the I went home with nothing that makes you appreciate, that next trip.
See, that's part of the sport. That's the sport.
No, you're right.
I mean, it is.
That's exactly right.
Again, you got skill, learning your skill, honing your skills. You got competition. Maybe not competition there, but it's you against yourself, you against nature, you against the animal. There's some, and that learning process is part of it,
And it makes it took me 8 years to kill my first deer. From 11, I killed my first deer at 17.
It must have stank after 8 years.
No, it literally took me that long to kill.
Slow death.
I hit him with a rubber mallet. I hit him with a foosball.
Killed him with the nail clippers.
Killed him with the nail clippers. So, it was a little spike, and, it just had little bitty horns. I still got the horns.
Wow.
They're 1 inches. 1 inches.
They are 1 inches.
They are 1 inch.
All one of those inches.
And that was back when it was doe day. You could kill one doe, and I actually thought it was a doe, and it ended up being a buck. And I killed my first buck.
That's cool.
My first deer was a buck, and man, you don't even know. Did the tradition, the blood in the face, the drinking, the whole
You
spiel.
entered manhood early.
I hunted at 40 degrees barefooted. I mean, this was, in the swamps.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
That memory is locked in there forever. So your first hunting trip, your first success, be it a duck, we're going to take Todd. Todd's the only person I'm taking on the first day of the season this year. He's it. It's me, Nick, and Todd. I won't take, last year we took the Georgia boys, which I absolutely loved it. We shot a lot of ducks, and then the next day it was dry. There wasn't another duck the rest of the season. First day was phenomenal, so I'm glad that happened. It made us look like champs. But this year, in case it's one of those, I'm just taking a nucleus of specific people.
Sure.
For one, is because Nick didn't even get to shoot one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because we're hunting out of canoes, and so our focus was that our Georgia buddies, got to shoot ducks. So this duck season, we got that coming up. I can put you on the location. I have no problem giving away where I hunt. Hunt here, pile up, get you, $29 worth of decoys, a $79 shotgun, and you are a duck hunter and a duck license. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, get out there and do that. I'm sorry, man. I just went off on a total rant, didn't I?
I like it.
That's just how I roll.
Just before I forget, tweet in, we still have random bears out in the neighborhood by Lake Marion.
Ooh. Oh, do they really got? Okay. Yeah. So maybe they do.
Is that Brittany?
Is that Brittany?
I think so.
So maybe they may have bears back out there. They did in the 70s, and if they do now, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of one out there in a while. So
which direction is Marion?
South, like the Poinciana area.
Okay.
Marion Creek goes from Lake Marion
to
to Hatchney Hall. which eventually goes to the Okeechobee, which eventually goes to the Gulf of Mexico, and actually the Atlantic Ocean. Isn't that crazy?
That is
You
crazy.
can technically Indian canoe yourself from right here in Central Florida to the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, that was Brittany.
So, well, cool, man. So there's a lot of hunting opportunities coming up. Key is hunter safety course. Don't forget, take that hunter safety course. Start out online.
If you're interested for more details, now that's one thing I don't really advertise them because they're plentiful.
Yes.
If you go on the FWC website and go to their news page,
Yeah.
boom, 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 online, in person, all the options but follow that, and they've got them everywhere.
I answer all emails almost immediately. And no matter how many you send, I will work you through that. I mean, I will help you.
It's a big deal.
Get through the most efficient way you can, because I'm happy to say and proud to say that I'm very proficient, in that, that category. This is what we do.
Yep.
So, and then the more people we get out there hunting, like we've always said, the better off we are. It's a dying sport, man. It really is. And with no fault to ourselves, we're making it hard to have a hunter safety course. I mean, it's not like you can just go down there and say, hey, I want a hunter safety course and do it this weekend.
Yeah.
It's a 2 or 3 week ordeal if you can find it. It might not be booked for a month. So, we're making it hard. We're making it harder. Harder. Oh, Belvedere, come hither, boy. We're making it harder on the hunter. You know what I'm saying there, boy? So
next week, can you do that for the whole show?
The whole show.
That's great.
Well, I'd write down some good, mighty fine fried chicken, Miss Bell.
That's very nice. Yeah.
We won't do that no more. So it's key. I will point you in the right direction. We'll get it done as quick as possible. I know I've asked the FWC because I'm signed up with the FWC to give the hunter safety course. But I have to be in their course. It'd be awesome if you could do it privately. That would be absolutely fantastic. But you can't. They don't have any private setups yet.
Speaking of the FWC, speaking of the FWC, speaking of being key, you're going to the Keys.
Yes.
See how I did that?
I see the segue.
Connected the dots.
Very awesome. We will be in the Keys next week, and Mike and I are going to...
When you say we, you mean you.
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
When I say we, I mean me. This is singular.
But we plan on connecting somehow.
Tuesday night.
It'll be fun.
I'll take my computer down, and whatever it is that you and I figure out that we'll need for me to... You and I will be side by side.
Yeah, if you guys want to call in, we'll chat with Rodney while he's in the Keys. And
we're going to talk about lobstering, how we're doing on lobstering, what kind of fish we're catching, our methods. Basically just him hawing and talking about what we're doing down in the Keys. Might be a little shorter show.
Yeah.
That's
all right.
Or it might be a whole hour. Who knows? We'll see how it works out. But I want a show next weekend. That was the first thing when...
at least make an appearance, Rodney.
Exactly. When our executive producer says, oh, you won't be here for the show, I was like, oh, man, I'm not going to the Keys now. I want to be here for the show.
We have technology.
We do. And you said, hey, let's see if we can do so.
Yeah, we can do something.
We're going to try to do something from the Keys. So it's going to be awesome. I'm going to be doing a lot of live stuff on Facebook from the Keys. We're going to be shooting some videos. I'm going to take enough gear that I can shoot podcasts while I'm down there.
Yeah.
On offshore gear, methods, all that good stuff. So we'll have those stacked up, and I'll start putting those out a little piece at a time. And that's kind of how we're going to do it. I'm sorry, Mike. I just blabbed on.
You blabbed on, but that's fine. But our
show.
Our quarter is running out quickly, Rodney.
Yes.
So
Mike, you got anything else?
I don't. I've enjoyed this hour. It always goes quick.
Yeah. Next week we'll
I'll
be
miss
in the
you,
Keys.
But we'll talk.
Yes. We'll be gone a whole week. And as my mama said 18 gazillion times, more every time.
Spit it out, Rodney.
You kids get outside and stay.